Item 2.1 is the election of a chairman. Do I have any nominations for the chairman of the Rappahannock County School Board?
Wes Mills.
Second, Wes Mills.
We have a nomination for Wes Mills and a second. Any other nominations? No other nominations? By roll call vote? Chris Euban?
Aye.
Rachel Bynum?
Aye.
Missy McCool?
Aye.
Wes Mills?
Aye.
Lenny Janelle?
Aye.
With that, you have a chairman, and I will relinquish the gavel.
Don't make me use this thing.
Congratulations.
Go again. Is there a nomination for vice chair?
I nominate Rachel Bynum.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second from Ms. McCool, motion from Ms. Jeno. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. So ordered. Dr. Grimsley, superintendent's recommendation for clerk, deputy clerk, superintendent's appointment for designee. So you've listed those in the agenda. Gail Checkeye to be clerk of the board. Jessica Portillo, how do you say it? Portillo?
Yes, Portillo.
Yep. Is recommended to serve as deputy clerk of the board. And Dr. Grimsley appoints Carol Johnson to continue to serve as superintendent's designee. Is there a motion to, I tell you what, let's just keep going. And then we'll do the slate, all right? We have an MVGS representative. We had Larry for many, many years. Anyone who would like to do that role?
Missy.
Missy?
I accept the nomination.
Yep. All right, we have a motion for Missy. She seconded herself. She's fine.
Accepted it.
Anybody want to second it?
Second.
Second from Mr. Rubin. We have MVGS, and we have the headwaters rep is, you were our headwaters rep last year, still willing to do that?
Unless we'd like to have.
Would you like to do it?
I'd be happy.
And an alternate?
Yeah, why don't we have, would you like
So
to be
then
the
it would be
headquarters
primary,
rep
and
now?
you can be secondary?
Yeah, that would be
All right,
good.
can we capture that? And previously, Mr. Rubin and I were on the policy committee. Is that satisfactory, everyone? All right, we have that slate. Is there a motion to adopt that slate? It would be the vice chair, Ms. Bynum, superintendent's recommendation for clerk, deputy clerk, and superintendent designee, MVGS, Ms. McCool, Representative Headwaters, Ms. Jeno, alternate, Ms. Bynum.
I was wondering if we wanted, we've talked about in the past, maybe having a PTO rep. I don't, there's someone who's a liaison with PTO, and I was wondering if this is the correct time to
Yeah,
talk about that, or.
we should
put that
probably
in new
talk
business.
about it in new business and
Okay.
figure out what to do with that.
Okay.
Because really, PTO is an open forum.
It's a separate.
It's an open forum. I'm not sure how we would show up except just popping in, right?
I mean,
It's not a,
yeah, I mean, just to be a clear pathway if PTO has a question is what I was wondering.
is there a motion to accept the slate?
So moved.
We have a motion, Mr. Uben. Is there a second?
I second.
Second from Ms. Jeno. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye, opposed, no. So ordered. The 2026 meeting schedule that was in the agenda has a lot in it that is, it's more than us, right? It's got meetings of the supervisors that are for our awareness because they impact the school budget, but it was there before. So are we gonna need to approve that? I think the things that were ours that were already on there, we've already approved.
Yeah.
So you adopted your budget development calendar, so this.
This is actually the meetings for the rest of the year.
Your regular scheduled school board meetings for the year.
Plus.
Yes,
But it has some extra stuff on it.
right.
So we do need a motion to
Is
adopt.
that this
That's
one right
it.
here?
Yeah, that's it.
And right now it's down further on the agenda, but it's a draft?
Mhm.
Okay.
Until adopted, correct.
Yeah, now, as far as motions go, we do have a item at the bottom of action items to approve that. So we
Yes.
should we should save that.
Mhm.
All right. All right, so moving on to 3.1. Welcome to our monthly meeting. We are here to accomplish the business of schools for the sake of our students. We do want to hear from our citizens. There's time for public comment prior to action items on the agenda. We ask that speakers identify themselves and their home district. If you need help identifying your home district, we'll help you with that. We also ask that your comments are limited to 3 minutes in order that we might provide equity to all speakers and to ensure that our meeting is reasonable in length. If you have more information that can be summarized in 3 minutes, please provide leave-behind materials for the board's review. The moderator will ask you to conclude your remarks as time has elapsed. If you have questions during the session, you may ask for clarification from a school board member or a school administrator after the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
I have a motion from Ms. Bynum. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. McCool. Any comment? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. And so ordered. Now we have Ms. Ruth Cassette here to hand over the reins.
Yes, that is true. Good evening, esteemed members of the school board, staff, faculty, anyone else that may be in attendance. Mr. No, I'd like to congratulate you on your election. As we move into this new year, I would like to say that I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity that I've had to be Rappahannock County Public Schools representative to the school board over the last year. However, as always, it's time for the torch to be passed on, and I am very pleased to pass it on to Ms. Rachel Wilkinson, who will be the next liaison. For the time that I've known Ms. Wilkinson, she has been absolutely amazing. She always carries herself with such decorum and elegance. I can't lie, I envy you at times, it's amazing. She's very concise, very precise with her words. And I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that she will do an amazing job to surpass me and all the liaisons that have come before her. Surpass me and all the liaisons that have come before her in her job as representative to the Rappahannock County Public Schools.
Ms. Wilkinson, she set an awfully high bar for you.
And I really doubt you'll be able to do
It's
it.
intimidating, isn't it? Ruth, though, so before you leave, we want to present you with something and get a picture with Ms. Wilkinson and you. Yes?
We have a special present. So, come to the middle, I guess. This
Yeah,
is how we
come up.
usually- Come on up. It's your time.
Thanks for what you did. Well done, very well done. Picture time and other things.
All right, everyone, 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So with that, I'd like to present you the new liaison, Ms. Rachel Wilkinson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I wrote things down. Good evening, esteemed members of the board. I don't have all that much to talk about. It's my first meeting. I'm getting the hang of things. But I wanted to congratulate the Quiz Bowl team on their beating Clark County, and that was the first beat they got. The first time Clark County was beat at all this season, and they're the second overall in our district. I also wanted to talk about the auditions for the spring play, and they're starting Tuesday, so there's good progress being made on that. And we're in the NHS group. We're starting on the Linus Blanket project, which is really exciting, and I'm also hoping to participate in that thoroughly. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. And there's also hope for an Appalachia Drive going on, where we're going to collect supplies for low-income areas, like blankets and food and all that, and for NHS. And that is it.
What is the spring play?
Oh, the spring play is The Little Mermaid.
Oh dear.
What is the Linus Blanket?
I believe it's the school gets to make blankets with fabric that they supply to go to those in need.
Rachel, can I ask what Are you upperclassman, are you a junior or senior?
I'm a junior.
A junior, okay, so we'll have you for at least a year.
Yeah, it'll
Congratulations.
be over before you know it.
Great.
And thanks, and Ruth left some big shoes to fill, I'm sure you'll do great. So thanks to both of you for stepping up. Right. I
Thank
could
you.
never have, when I was your age, I could never have done that, what you're doing. I would have froze up for sure,
Oh.
shaking like a leaf. Yeah, good job.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
All right, we've received donations, which we will accept during consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes from our December 9th meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion, who said that, did you? Motion from Ms. McCool, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Bynum, any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. So order, I reviewed the bills before I got here, and they seem to be in order. We're about 50%, we're 50% through with the year. Things look good. It's funny though, some things are like 100% and some are 20, but in the end, they're on track. So that's the way the budget rolls. So is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda, which contains the payment of all our bills, the attendance report, and our homeschool report and the donations? Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Have a motion, Mr. Rubin, is there a second?
I second.
Second from Mr. No, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. And so ordered. Dr. Grimsley.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Our first item on items from the superintendent is actually items from our CFO. So I'm going to hand it over to Stacy Witt. Recently we went through, well, all the time, we're going through extensive auditing processes for all of the financials. So I've asked Stacy to share the reports with you and kind of explain that, answer any questions, and also explain the process of what goes into that. Gail Checkeye, our bookkeeper, also went through an extensive auditing process too for all the activities funds for the school. And as always, hers come out crystal clean and beautifully done. She couldn't be here tonight, but we of course want to give her kudos for all the hard work that she does to manage all of those funds. Stacy?
Okay. So Dr. Grimsley asked me just to go over the audit report, kind of overview of everything. Josh Roller is our main auditor, and he actually spoke to the Board of Supervisors in December to give the report of the whole thing. So the report is actually pretty large, but our portion of it is fairly small, which is nice. But overall, he did say that we had a clean audit, which is nice because it's the highest ranking you can get. And when it comes to money, you want to make sure you're doing everything right. So, like Dr. Grimsley said, we do go into an audit crunch time. For me, Gail, and Peyton, it usually runs from this year. It started at the end of May, and we finish up in the middle of November, usually.
Wow.
So that's crunch time when we have to, do our year-end reporting and get the documents that are requested from us. But really, this is a whole division project because if everyone didn't maintain their budgets and followed everything that needed to be done and make sure their POs were done correctly and their invoices, this would be a complete nightmare. But we luckily work with a great group of people, and they do what we ask of them and in the time frame we ask of them. So we end up really well come audit time. It's crazy and hectic, but okay at the end. So I asked Dr. Grimsley to pull up some reports from the audit just so you guys can take a look at it. The first one is our balance sheet. It's Exhibit 31 in the report. And I wanted to just kind of highlight this because there were some questions at the Board of Supervisors. Because looking at this, it looks like at the year end we had a cash balance of 1.3, which technically, $1.3 million, sorry.
Yeah.
Which technically we did, but that has to take into account our accrued payrolls for July that have to go back to the previous budget year, and any accounts payable that have to go back to the previous budget year. So while it looks like we have cash flow, or we have cash at the end and we're just sitting on it, we are technically not. We are not allowed to carry our funds over. We have to have a zero fund balance. So once you put into
the balance sheet, the accrued information, we do end up with a zero fund balance, which is on exhibit 33. I think it's 2 pages down. So this is our fund balance. It shows our, is this 33? Yeah. It shows, yeah, that's it. It shows our revenues and our expenses. And of course, we end the year with $0, which is nice, which is what we're supposed to do. I will point out at the top of this exhibit, it shows the county transfer, which is 9.8 from the primary government. We actually came under what was expected, what we had originally budgeted, and we were able to return to the county $11,633. So that's always a plus. You know, the main thing is to never go over, because that will cost Dr. Grimsley and I our jobs.
License and jumping.
Yeah, so, you know, it's tough with a large budget that we have, and a million different areas that the money is going out. So it is key that we all work together, in the end, and we do, and it, you know, this is how it turns out. We have a clean audit report, so.
That's good. We got A plus.
Yes.
Where does that 11,000 show up in the report?
So it is on, sorry, on exhibit 35.
Right, I just,
If you go down one more, is this? Next page after that, sorry. There you go, at the top. The
so that
11.
quote, that
That-
parentheses.
Right, that is what.
Shows that that was a check
Mhm.
given.
So you have your original budget, your final budget, and then what we actually spent revenues and expenses.
So the revenue from the Commonwealth and the federal government was just less this year,
Yes.
so.
Hmm.
Significantly less.
So, less than what are you comparing that to, Rachel?
Well, it's, the
Less
actual
than-
budget,
less
we
than
got
what we
more,
budgeted.
we actually got more from the state, because we budgeted 3.4 and we got 3.7. So we got-
Right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first column and the last column.
Well, then,
But then the federal government went from 793 to 5.
So we did get less.
yeah, from the federal, we got less than, I just wanna understand where about the parentheses at the end. Because.
We were, so the parentheses, we were over on state, and then over, we gave back to the county the 11.6, which is nice.
Okay.
And can I ask, since I'm brand new to this, you guys do this every year, this audit is yearly?
Everything.
And so if you're, like, this, half of your year is spent, I mean, it's a little bit of your each week
So
that
we
is
have
spent doing it?
two seasons for me, and it's audit and budget.
That's it.
That's a good thing you're a number person, right? That's it.
So we start audit in May, just preliminary really in May, getting them their first numbers and copies of invoices. And then we deal with them virtually for the most part, and then they usually come in October and on site, and kind of final up everything for their report and then work on their reporting from there.
This is like do they do like a big one, or this is a big one every year? Like they do a 5-year one sometimes, or
No,
10-year,
so
this is the big
this
one?
is our big one, we do a big one every year. Gail does a big one every year for her activities account for both elementary and high school.
Her own internal one?
Yes,
Yep, and that has its own report loaded for
Right.
it as well.
so she gets a report as well. Gail's is probably a little more intense than mine because there's so many extra hands in that. So they look hard because if there were ever to be anything, activities counts are the easiest.
Yeah.
So, and Gail is meticulous. She
I've
documents
dealt with Gail.
everything.
dealt
So
with it, that's
she
not
wants to make sure there's no questions ever. So she always gets a clean record on her audit as well, which is nice.
Awesome, thank you.
And they also look at your internal controls with how you manage your finances and processes and things. So that was something that these ladies take very, very seriously, because that's their grade, you know, so. And it is worth noting that the auditor actually called Stacy Witt the goat of school finance, which I thought was really great.
Really?
Yeah, there was a
Yeah.
letter that came with it that was
So that was neat. And also in Gail's, one of the, not finding, but recommendations or, you know, things to look at was that there was one bookkeeper for the district. And that can be an awful lot of work, and that can cause some issues that way, but she still comes out, you know, up to snuff every single time. And they also say in the report that, you know, the cost of trying to change that would outweigh the benefits of having her overseeing the process, so.
Do we use QuickBooks, or is there some other sort of fancy software that schools use?
So Gail uses QuickBooks for the activities account. I use PowerSchool eFinance.
Okay, so they have a special
Yep.
school one.
Mhm.
Sorry for all the questions, guys. We're
Okay.
probably-
No,
good.
no, that's good. Other questions?
It's good to hear again.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
It's a lot. Now you're back in budget mode.
I'm on budget mode,
Officially.
yes, officially.
Turn the switch.
So speaking of budget mode, this is the time of year that we go through our presentation on what the governor has proposed in the FY '27 budget. As we know, the governor's beginning budget is usually dismantled in the General Assembly, amendments happen, and then whatever is final comes out later in the spring. So we have to do our best at really great conjecture to figure out what revenues we can anticipate to reasonably build a budget around our needs, and also whatever mandates are coming from the state and federal government. State revenues are comprised of the following: the standards of quality, which are your guidelines for building a school budget, and your staffing ratios, mandates, the guidelines that you have to meet. There's incentive programs, categorical funding, and lottery funded programs. Of course, the local composite index is always something that we have to grapple with. This is how it's comprised, and so basically what that means is with our LCI that the state gives us funding at their funding level based on a local composite index of what they believe the community's ability to pay for school education is. And in this case, ours is 0.8. It's actually much higher than 0.8, but it's capped out at 0.8. So that means that they expect the locality to fund 80% of what it costs to fund education in the community, and they'll do 20 when they put that down through the support cap. The support cap, different than supplemental basic aid cap, the support cap, then it's more of about 17% of what you actually need in school staffing. So keeping that in mind, so here are the numbers, budgeted receipts from the fiscal year '26 compared to the projected receipts in '27 in your SOQ programmatic funding. Good news, in the governor's budget, that puts us $312,803 ahead. And these are the different areas. We saw some increases in our at-risk, which we kind of figured the at-risk add-on would see some additional funding. That's been a push for K-12 and General Assembly, both chambers for a while. Special education, additional funding there. And then sales tax came up too. Incentivized programs, that's where your Virginia Preschool Initiative funds are housed. We did see a nice increase in that, and that has to do with our actual numbers of VPI eligible children. Those numbers look to be up again. In fact, we are revamping our application, and that should go out very soon, within the next week or so. Technology, your VPSA money stays the same every year. That's the $102,000 toward upkeeping our technology systems. We saw the supplemental GF payments, general fund payments in lieu of food and hygiene tax. So that's just basically saying the hold harmless for your tax dollars, state tax. So we saw a little bit of a decrease in your incentive programs. Categorical, your whopping $3,800 from categorical funding. Lottery funded, this is where it's split. Some of your at-risk funding gets put through this. And then the infrastructure and operations line is your other big one, the $200,000. And if you remember, well, I guess, gosh, it's been a while now when they put that in, but that was one of the first lines in state direct aid funding that they did not run through LCI and instead put a floor, a minimum amount that every school district could. Otherwise, and this is for your infrastructure and capital and things like that, otherwise it would be right around like $23,000 that you'd be getting instead of $200,000. So that's something when we do talk to our legislators at the state level that we talk to them about trying to put in those minimum floors rather than relying solely on formulaic funding from the state, because this is the issue it causes. So our state revenue summary looks this way. So we like that in the governor's budget, $323,655 ahead in the black. So that's not always the case, that's really good. Now, the governor's budget does get, completely revamped. So we don't like to get either too excited or too angry at what the governor presents, because there's going to be a lot of changes. But what I will say, if you look at those numbers, they are formulaic in nature and tend to have additional funds put in by a Democratic majority General Assembly. If trends continue that way politically, you can almost, bank on that being a low number from the state. So barring any crazy new mandates and which anything can happen in the legislature, that could be a pretty safe bet for a bottom figure from the state, from what I'm hearing. Now, other things that could adjust that, federal funding projections, so where we have to make up some differences. We do know our Title I monies were hit pretty significantly, so we're looking at that. We're in an audit year for program monitoring on Title II and also Title IV, so there's some interesting new dynamics there, so we'll have to see how those go. So these are our standard programmatic areas from the federal government. My Perkins funds, I do Perkins for federal programming in Title II, and Perkins is kind of tied up right now. They've switched from the Federal Department of Education to the Department of Labor, so our grant funds kind of got stuck there for a little while, and then they finally said, okay, we're going to allow you to do your 2024 award year reimbursements. So in the meantime, we're talking to the treasurer. We promise, they say it's going to come against those expenditures. So that stuff has been a little bit, logistically challenging, but they have released our 2025 award finally, but I don't know if there's going to be any significant changes with how they run your reimbursements.
That would be a common experience for many, many school boards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Other things, of course, are grants and our state initiative funds that we rely so heavily on to do some of the amazing things that we can do, So Commit to Be Fit and REACH, and our different foundations, Headwaters, Northern Piedmont Community Foundation, our school-based mental health grants. All of these things have really helped us achieve what we put forward in our Road to Remarkable. State initiatives, the Virginia Literacy Act implementation. This year had many heavy impacts because it extended up through 8th grade with the same implications for your reading specialists and the reading plans and interventions and all of those pieces. And then high intensity tutoring initiatives too. So, projected revenue summary looks like this for now. Based on if we kept federal level, which we won't know really until September, long after our whole budget is created. We're going to keep that way. Our grant funding looks like it may have a little bit of a decrease, but we're in conversations now with our foundations to see if we can talk about a very important aspect of what's happening locally, which is you see in the county fiscal year 27 slide. Now, usually what I put in there is a TBD, to be determined. But it was pretty loud and clear from the supervisors and in our conversations that they do plan on level funding operating for the county, for the schools from the county. They did invest quite a bit last year, and we, went through quite a tug of war process last year. Those of you who are here remember. And, but there are talks about making some huge investments in school capital. Can you touch my screen over there so it doesn't shut off?
I don't.
Keep it on. Yes, thank you. So we're going to begin with that end in mind to build this on a revenue projection that includes the additional from the state, holds the county at a level funding scenario. The board, of course, can give us direction at the work session that'll be coming up and any other direction you want, but that's kind of where we wanted to stay to see what a budget would look like in that scenario, a very likely scenario from what it sounds like. So different variables that we're going to have to contend with as we do this. Health insurance is a biggie, and that'll be a primary focus of your work session next week. We've invited One Digital to come and share sort of a broad overview of the situation of health insurance that we've been looking at for many years. It looks like it's not going to be favorable again this year, so another hefty increase. So we'll have to figure out how we want to manage that. Of course, what happens in the chambers at the General Assembly. We're tracking, I think I've got over 78 bills right now I'm tracking in General Assembly to see what happens there. Staff intent to return forms are going out this week, so we'll try to ascertain what our staffing figures look like for next year as we're building the budget. Of course, actual allocations for state and federal funds. You will adopt a budget long before we know any of that. So we're going to do our best to make a very, very educated guess on what that looks like for you. And then, of course, your actual ADM and fall enrollment numbers come in and determine what the state will provide in certain areas. So budget priorities for FY27. Holding the county sort of harmless for an increase, we were talking about the road to remarkable and how we are approaching the end of that, the life of that comprehensive plan, so it will need to be redone. That being said, we have achieved or have put in motion all of the programmatic and staffing pieces that we said we would do at this point. So there aren't huge areas that we're adding additional programs and staffing. But of course, recruitment, retention, compensation, and professional development remain a priority in our comprehensive plan. Our full MTSS implementation is coming into fruition this year and next year. So making sure that we can provide all the tiered system of supports that are available in our comprehensive plan, but also beyond that and what the data says that our students need in each domain, academic and behavior, attendance, and also our staff, MTSS for staff that we're implementing to make sure we're supporting our staff on all those levels. Capital improvements is going to be the big discussion item this year in budget season, not just for us, but also for the county. You know, we have the elementary school roof we've been talking about for a very long time. So that looks like we're moving in the right direction. And then a really large HVAC evaluation assessment was done. So that will help inform what we want to do with our capital improvement. We will send out a community survey here shortly, like we do every year, to get the community's feedback on what's important to them in the budget. And that's always a consideration. We share those results publicly too. At our joint meeting or one of the following budget meetings. We have quite a few. You do have a work session next Tuesday night in the school board office at 6:30 p.m. Any questions?
So in the governor's budget, did he have any recommendation for increases for teacher salaries?
Yes.
That type of thing? What was the
So
target?
2% each year of the biennium. So 2% for all standards of quality increase for both years, 2 and 2. And there's been talk of a bonus, end of year bonus potentially. So we'll see kind of where that ends up. That becomes more difficult for us in a current year because what we have appropriated was already appropriated. If it's a bonus, that essentially means we'd have to go back to the county and say, you know, please, we need additional funds to support that staff bonus, and also, you know, whether or not that's good compensation for our staff, you know, is arguable based on compensable
Especially
income.
if we take it away
Yeah.
with the health increase.
Yes.
So, good. So we're going to talk about that next Tuesday night at the school board office,
Yes.
right? 6:30?
Yes. And you will have a One Digital consultant who manages our health benefits to be able to talk to you about the data and what we've done. And, you know, we've been working on this for years to provide the best possible benefits we can for employees and keeping the cost as low as possible, but also having that off-ramp with the high deductible and HSA plan so that, you know, we can protect the benefits, but also have a low-cost employer contribution for covering the full cost of single subscriber, which has been a goal.
Typically at that meeting, that's where the board shares any kind of parameters that we want to throw with Stacy so she can do, you
Yep.
know, some preliminary calculations, right? So we need to be ready with those ideas. And we don't have an idea of the health insurance increase yet. They probably won't have it at the meeting, or do we?
Not the official, but based on our claim trends, we're looking to probably plug in a 20 to 25% increase.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yep. Rip the Band-Aid off, sorry.
It's all right.
We had to do it.
It's all right. For many years, it was 0.
Yeah, 6 in a row.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
That's one question. On page 3, on your report there,
Mhm.
can you just explain to me, it says here, it's the local LCI, the local composite index.
Mhm.
What does this mean when it says each locality's index is adjusted to maintain an overall statewide local share of 45% and an overall state of 55%? Is that all the LCIs for all the counties?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, now, because I was thinking, that's not ours.
That is
But-
not ours.
But they're saying that they give 55% overall, and then they make everybody else, so
Correct.
that they balance it out between all those little counties.
Yes,
Gotcha.
you got it.
Yeah. Any other questions for Dr. Grimson? Anybody?
So, you did mention thinking about running out of floors for funding like that. Is that one? What would you say to someone in Richmond right now? What are the priorities? Could you talk more about the bills that you're following or the general?
So that's a great question. So when, I do talk to a lot of legislators and advocacy groups
Yeah.
about that very thing, and if you are going to push for a huge investment in K-12 in some of these areas, for instance, like your at-risk add-on or special education, then when you make that investment tied to it, some type of a floor that doesn't run just through formulaic funding, because you will, with especially districts like ours with our LCI issue, you're going to have very limited funding. So we do like to use the at-risk add-on amount. When I was talking to Senator Hashmi about that, and she was running for lieutenant governor, and I talked to her about that very thing, and she said, but we put all this money in at-risk add-on, we were very excited about that in committee. I said, yes, but we got $7,600 out of that. She said, you got what? So, yeah. So when we talk about those real numbers and how they actually translate, it's a very real issue. So putting floors in is important. Also advocating for the Coalition of Rural Schools have put forward a priority to, and VACO did as well, and some other groups, BASS is pushing it, the SBA, for economies of scale adjustment, which was recommendation 13 of the JLARC report in the General Assembly. And what that does is provide that additional amount that they think offsets what is prevailing cost over what is projected cost and what the state provides. For Rappahannock, that would yield an additional $1.2 million a year in state funding, which is a significant amount. So when we talk to them, we do say that priority 13, to really look at that one, JLARC recommendation 13, that seems to be getting some traction. They are playing with the language a little bit for adjusting the enrollment in schools to 2,700. So that would bring the number up to like 68 districts or something that would benefit.
COSARs?
And it would benefit about those 68 districts and still be a pretty low number statewide. So we think low hanging fruit, and it would make a huge difference.
So if we were gonna emphasize anything, we should get behind and bring up that same topic. And that one topic, really, that, if we had just one song,
Yeah.
that would be the one we would sing. And you called it a JLARC 13?
Yeah, like recommendation number 13.
Mhm,
And
yes.
so it hasn't turned itself into a bill or anything yet?
Not yet. There's some promise with some patrons and some work that we're doing to see if we can get a patron on that as well. I also will say that we want to be careful not getting out too much in front and having Rappahannock be the
Face of it,
the
right.
face of one of those. We know that wasn't met with,
Yeah, they'll vote no just when they find out we're there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now Delegate Weber has said that he is going to put forward a House bill again to put up the supplemental basic aid cap removal. So we know how that generally
We know
goes,
that won't go.
but we should full force support that one too.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
yeah,
get both.
I mean, it still would be fair.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Dr. Grimsley? It's good to know. All right, moving on, 6.1, Headwaters representative. So probably you're gonna need to do this, because you
Yeah.
were the last one to receive information, right?
Honestly,
Do you
I'm
have
gonna,
anything to?
I invited the Headwaters,
Call
we
it?
did not have the chance to meet, but this is what I know, based on my previous report. This is the first day of after school for everybody, so, because that was the date that I asked at the last meeting.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed going to the end of after school event that happened. That was really fun. It was a fun time, and it's a great program, so it's exciting to have another semester of after school happening. And then now the applications for scholarships for seniors are open, so every senior should be looking for their scholarships for all kinds of things, including college, including trades, including anything you want to do after you graduate. So the profile of the graduate team knows all about them, as well as just looking on the Headwaters website. They have a whole good listing
Well,
of
that's
many
good to know, too.
scholarships available.
Good.
Yeah, I just checked it because I didn't get a chance to talk directly
Sorry.
with Cole, but, Cole she will add on during public comment anything else about Headwaters that we should know. All right. All right. There we are, January.
Do you have anything from MBGS?
So MDGS did not meet since our last meeting.
Okay.
We meet Thursday, so I'll
Okay.
fill you in on how
Next
that
time.
goes.
Send me that info.
I will.
Okay.
All right. All right, information items. The board has received this item, it's a code of conduct, which we all sign each year. Where is it at? Did we all finish it? We finished it? That's what it looks like. And this is part A of the Just Behave Yourself document. It tells us how to behave as board members and what our priorities should be. And in Rappahannock County, we have also a board norms and protocols document, which is on the school board page of our webpage if you want to go check it out, but it also tells us how to behave, things that we should be doing and not doing. And I printed out a copy so I could read it, some of it to you before I left the house, and it's sitting on the printer right where I left it. So, but anyway, it speaks to, protocols for how it is that we interact with the public, whether it's here or in the school or wherever we might find. You have a copy?
I think I have a copy, because it just gave it to me last
So,
couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's several pages
That's
long.
it?
I don't want to read it.
I don't know what
Well,
it is,
to
but I
you,
think I
but-
have it.
You do have it.
It just basically speaks to our role and how, as a board member, how it is we're going to interact. How we develop an agenda, how we put items on the agenda, communications that we have amongst us, and how it's how we shouldn't communicate, because technically anytime more than two of us are in the same space, it's an official meeting and minutes have to be taken, and so you surrender that kind of freedom. Things like that are documented. What we do and don't do on social media, because we can get the entire school board in trouble, and thus the county. That we can volunteer to be a soccer coach, but we can't do anything but volunteer. And then, of course, another interesting part of this is what happens when we're bad. So we've written that down and agreed upon it as well. So there are norms related to violations and things such as public comment. You might find it strange that when somebody comes up to speak in public comment, we don't respond to the person in the public. We don't answer questions. Well, that's part of the norms and protocols. And it distinguishes public comment, which is us receiving comments from the public, from a town hall type meeting, which this is not. So that's where those types of things are defined. In case you're wondering, you can find it on the web, and we review those every year, which is also one of the norms and protocols, that we review it every year to try to make improvements to it or correct it. So anyway, we all signed that code of conduct this evening. I think, is that an action item?
It is, yep.
So we'll be voting that become our annual thing again. The statements of economic interests are all due by the February 1st. Did we all get those in already? I did, you did? No? So they're all in? They should be good?
Good job.
All right, moving on to public comment. If there's anybody that would like to address the board this evening, if you could rise and come to the podium, you state your name and your district. And if you will try to keep your comments to 3 minutes, appreciate it. Thanks.
I think it'll be well under 3 minutes. I'm Cole Johnson, and I am the Piedmont District, believe it or not. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a headwaters report, because Rachel, we did not get together. And I want to let you know that we, probably by the end of this week, we'll have given over $70,000 to the schools for programs such as Farm to Table, journalism class at the high school, creative writing at the elementary school, cameras that records. We're not allowed to use cell phones during school hours, so we can post stuff on social media for students. And I'm gonna ask them to do their first story on headwaters.
That's fair.
And, but I mean, we're very exciting time, and I'm kind of catching up to speed, but been a lot of meeting, and really like the energy. Is that allowed? That's it.
Thank you, Cole. Is there anyone else?
My name is John Grobb, and I live in Chester Gap, Virginia. I debated coming tonight, but after reading disturbing news in the media, as well as Facebook, which I really don't follow, about the admin office and the school in itself. I've been through 4 administrations, and every administration gives you challenges. This is an administration that has really given us a challenge, mainly because they're independent from the majority of the people that live here. Before, it used to be relatives, married to something. Carlos was here, he started that program, really, that independent. I want the board to understand that this is a good school. I want the board to understand that I've talked to all of the administrative people, and their whole heart is for the students and raising the bar in education. The school here is for education, not for fun, happy times, that's nice. But it really disturbs me to read this, and when I read it, that, well, the board will look into it, you know, we'll see what's going on. I assure you that this administration is doing the best they can do it with the situation at hand. They definitely need your support. Definitely need your support in this situation. I've talked to Dr. B, I've talked to Jay, I've talked to some of the others. I'm independent. I don't have anybody in this school. I've been here for 7 years as a permanent sub. I hear rumors, but the bottom line is I tell a lot of teachers, this is not in your pay scale. These decisions are made in the front office. Our decision is to follow those. If you don't like it, then go to the board and talk to them about it. But don't express your opinions out in open hallways. Some of the students have given some very negative, it's not like a home environment. Of course it's not, this is a school. And I keep telling kids in the classroom, you're here for an education, we're here to give it to you. So I want you to know, I want you to understand that the people that are supporting us down at in this building right here are the people's whole heart is into this school. Whole heart into the students. And we need to be very careful of all the negatives, because the last couple, 3 weeks have been extremely disturbing to me. Because this is a good school. Oh, it's a country school, I've talked to people, but it is, but they've set the bar high, something that hasn't been done for a long time. We may not meet it this year, but sooner or later. You got 2 primary students right here. Listen to how they talked, how they spoke. That's wonderful. And I just want to say, you have no questions, no doubt. You shouldn't have any doubt on the administrative that's running this school. And that's all I have to say. And I thank you very much for allowing me. I think I went over 3 minutes.
You're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you want this, it's written in Arabic. Yes.
You know, Dr. Grebsley wrote her thank you letter to Ruth in French. I don't know if has Ruth opened that yet? No, she's gone.
Yeah. She'll have to check me on it. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's in code.
It's in code.
All right, with anybody else? Yeah. Speak, Steph? Oh, We have a student.
Hi, my name is Isabel Roby and I'm from the Wakefield District. I'm here tonight to try to advocate for classes or opportunities that I feel are really important that we don't really get more. So I'm a junior here at Rappahannock, and I'm also the sole junior member at Company 4 Flint Hill. And I believe that our school does a pretty good job at giving us opportunities for career explorations in the trades and different things like that. But I feel that fire and EMS has started to be really left out, and I understand that finding the instructors for it is really, really hard, but that doesn't mean that we can't really explore other opportunities, which in my personal opinion, I really haven't seen much of the exploration for that, and yes, I'm glad that we do have the public safety class now. I'm really grateful for that because it's allowing more exploration into the services like that. But I really haven't seen much of people trying to coordinate with our local agencies to try to get more junior members involved. Because like I said, I'm the only junior member at Flint Hill right now, and most of our members are starting to get a little bit older. They can't really do much of the stuff they used to. And with me being the only really younger one other than a few, maybe 3 or 4 other ones, we can't really raise that bar anymore with only us. And I feel like we really need more emergency services classes for the school, and if not, maybe shuttle us to Laurel Ridge, because I know they have a emergency medical technician program over there. Blue Ridge has stuff like that, and there's even online opportunities through Fairfax. Culpeper has a few. I just really think that those things are maybe things we could try to start looking into for future years, or even come the end of this year to start during the summer, because those classes are kind of long, and I just really think it'd be a really good idea to start looking into those so we have more getting people excited about it. Because I've had people come to me asking about it, and I can't really tell them very much other than, yeah, it's a lot to get into the service and be able to stay in it without these classes. I got into the service, yes, I have family and I have friends in the service, but I ultimately got in it because having Miss Cat Waters here to push me into where I'm at today. Thank you.
Thanks. Isabel,
Yes, sir.
what's your last name again?
Roby.
Roby?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steph Ritter, and I'm in the Wakefield District, and Happy New Year, folks. I want to second everything that Ms. Roby said, and I'm one of the aging people at Company 4. And it does seem like we're really missing Kat. Was sort of sad to lose her. I'm here because this is mostly for Shannon. I've had a number of people contact me about when they can go advocate for our schools and our school funding at the state legislature. So if you get a bill, or I can ask them to just refer to the JLR recommendation number 13. But if you can just send me who they should contact, I think I have about 20 people who are ready to go on this.
That's great. Yeah, we should probably plan once it's a bill or something,
Yeah,
we should plan a time together like we did
Absolutely.
Okay,
before.
thank you.
Thank you, Steph. Is there another?
Megan Ruby, Wakefield District. I'm just wondering, what steps are we taking to make the school feel safe again for the students?
Steps to make the school safe.
Because they've got teachers that they don't feel safe around, and they're pretty much being bullied. School was a safe haven for a lot of kids to get away from the problems that they have at home, and it's not happening now.
Okay.
Can you elaborate at all? Or would you like to, or do you want to
Well,
just to let us, maybe those.
hearsay, there's a teacher that's got hired on this school year as a special ed teacher. She's been heard by other students. She wishes that the students would stop faking their mental disabilities and all this other stuff. That's not good for kids to hear.
Thank you.
All right. Is there another? All right, if there's anybody that would like to, we also have in our agenda, and we will continue to have in our agenda, an opportunity for people to speak to the budget. We are having a budget meeting next Tuesday, work session, and typically those work sessions start to, it's the opportunity for the board to get some, to start getting some numbers rolling as far as what our priorities are, and is it, we're gonna target 3% or 4% or 2%, or what are we gonna do about health insurance and those types of things with our staff and with the budget. And so that's happening next Tuesday. In the agenda, you'll see public comment related to the budget cycle that's ahead of us. So if there's specific things that you would like to share with the board this evening related to budget, this is opportunities. Anybody would like to address the board about the budget? I know it's early to be talking about the budget, but we like to make sure we have every opportunity provided to you. All right? Anything from a board member about the budget before next week? We good? I guess you'll have to wait. Stacy's good. She's good at adapting. All right, moving on to action items. Is there a motion to approve the calendar for 2026?
So moved.
We have a motion, Mr. Rubin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. McCool. Right? Any comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no. So ordered. Approval of our student liaison, Rachel Wilkinson.
Aye. Motion.
Oh, there's no way you're not getting this. Come on. We have a motion from.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Jeno and a second from Ms. Bynum. That we're all glad to see you, and we love to hear from you. And it's it's an opportunity each month for us to hear what you're thinking, how things are going on, what's the pulse, and also you need to be prepared. Sometimes the board might ask you questions, how things are going, and also you need to know that we don't hold your arm behind your back to stay here for the entire meeting, but you're welcome to. But don't be embarrassed to just get up and leave because we know you have stuff to do, right? Unless it's a basketball game, then you got to hang with us because we don't get to go either. So, all right. Is there a motion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no? Unanimous. Is there a motion to approve the VSBA Code of Conduct?
So moved.
We have a motion from Ms. Bynum. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. McCool. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no? So order, is there any new business?
I think this is where Wes and I kind of talked. Sorry guys, I'm brand new to this, but I've wondered this. I've sat out in the audience a few times, and I just wondered kind of, and I know Rachel and I, Missy and I all go back to PTO, kind of wondering if maybe we should have a report from PTO. I'm just kind of wondering, like, how did Headwaters get in there? And there's a few groups that are in there, and it makes sense completely, but. And I don't know that it needs to be an actual representative. Wes was saying something along the lines.
Well, one thing that we can do that would be easy is just to put the PTO on the agenda and make sure that there's a place where they know they're expected. If they can't make it, that's fine. But if they were on our agenda, they would have a place preserved for them to come and share with us how it's going. We could ask questions to them if they're a presenter, right?
And at one time, we had done that. It was every other month that you had a standing agenda item for PTO to come and
Yeah,
address.
I thought that was okay, but I think it's a lot to ask our PTO to also come to a board meeting in person, which
Wait,
was.
is it okay to, if I gave a report from them, because I'm pretty involved still with
Yeah,
PTO?
you could, if we put it in the agenda, you
Yeah.
could report out
I could do
whatever
a
the
report out.
status is.
Sure, okay.
Or you could have someone come. I tend to think we should, whatever we do, we should have it there every month. That way, some months there'll be nothing.
You can get somebody to show up, have them come talk. If they don't want to come, they can't make it, then you can fill us in.
Yeah. I think
So let's just plan on inserting that with our committee reports
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, I think just having it be a more regular thing, and something that wasn't a big,
I mean,
person with kid has to come.
for
to the
years,
meeting out
the
every time.
PTO is not like it is now. It's turned into this super organization So for many years it was not. So it is very reasonable.
And I had one more request that I was wondering, and I know Shannon and I have talked about this. I know I come from, I'm new this month, but I come from a background of working with a lot of the grants kind of stuff, and that's turned into being quite a bit of our budget. I think more than a lot of other schools. From what I'm learning as I go to these meetings, that, you know, well, Shannon, what percentage? Do you know? It's like 8% maybe, or 5% of our budget overall seems to be kind of grants.
That's about right. Yeah.
About right? Maybe Stacy knows. And I was just wondering if there's some way we could maybe have a report for the board, or maybe even a liaison or a representative or something like that, that would kind of be more in touch with where the grants are, as what we're applying for maybe, I know we talked about doing a spreadsheet, like kind of just to keep us updated, so we kind of have an idea. Yeah, I know, Stacy's already had conversations with me about this, but I would love to see that somewhere, so that, like, just so we're not, so the board is aware of what kind of grants are out there, because, you know, sometimes you hear in the community, oh, we got this grant, and you're going, I didn't know anything about that, you know, and especially big ones, you know, and I know there's difference in federal and state and then private, and so we might need to fine tune that, but I would love to see.
It's a great idea, it'd be good for
Something
the
like
public to see how much of the budget's made up by grants and how much the school feeds off of that
Yeah.
without county support.
I currently have a spreadsheet with private grants.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
Another aspect of that would be to make sure we clearly know the purpose of grants. I think sometimes people see us having things that seem, you know, extra special, or that we shouldn't be paying for X or Y. Or
The massage chair.
And, right, and, yeah, I mean, that's the prime example, right? Yeah, I mean, but that was grant
How
funded.
dare we waste
you know,
money on the
that was
massage
grant
chair.
funded, and a lot of the,
It was
yes.
a direct grant.
But that's
for
very
that
valid, because it
specifically.
just helps with the communication
Yeah.
transparency, so people realize that we are, our community, first off, we have huge support from a lot of things in our community, and this is kind of where it goes. Like, just for example, Commit to Be Fit used to do a lot more stuff in the community, and I just opened up my emails, because now I'm a board member, and realized that they're still doing a lot of stuff in the schools, but I didn't realize that, because I've never seen the emails that come to the school family, not to the community, and I went, oh, maybe that's what Commit to Be Fit's got their focus on now. So I think it would be good if someone just kind of gave a quick update, maybe, so that someone on the board is aware and we can speak to that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
and another aspect of grants too is that we get a lot of grants, but we should be appreciative of all these foundations who are getting grants, and if you can't even giving us money, all this money year after year, hundreds of thousands of dollars, we should be more accountable just as humans to say thank you for that money, I think.
What if we,
Make sure
just-
people
that's a
know
great-
where it came from.
Good idea, so that just reminded me of like donations, so
Yeah.
you have those items in
Yeah.
your consent agenda. It would be helpful maybe if we put any new grant agreements that we receive between board meetings into your consent agenda, so there's always a report of any new grants
Yeah, that'd be
and
great.
what they're for, and then they can be.
And that would give us opportunity to share with public
Yeah.
exactly what's.
That
And
would
then-
be the perfect place.
So then it's up to date and you'll always see anything new and then we can talk about it if
That's
it's
a
needed
great
and it's
idea.
there. And then also in the superintendent's budget report, we always have a section dedicated to
To
grants
grants.
and we can beef that up a little more.
Yeah.
With a little more additional, if that's an
We
area
have
of
a little more
interest.
granular.
But
Sure.
in that report, I mean, that's once a year, and it's a great report. It'd be nice to have something like a snapshot of that quarterly, or something that just keeps us up to date with where we are, and do remember to, you know, anybody that makes a donation, we send a letter of thanks,
Mhm.
but we don't do anything like that for the people that are,
Right, and,
I mean,
yeah.
70K.
No, we
Cole.
give in worth.
70K,
That's all.
and we're like, hey, thanks, Cole.
Yeah, it
She
just.
goes, come talk to us.
Yeah.
You make it go talk.
PTO doesn't have that, do they?
Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Hmm,
That's a great
see, are we
idea.
giving us
I'd
money,
see
or are we
that.
giving you money? No.
And,
No.
and also, when you're, one of the grants that we just received from Likes was for doing a special project right outside that door, right?
Yep.
So it's gonna look fancy and like we're doing something special, but we're not using
Public
private,
money.
we're not using any of the money from,
It's not tax
from,
dollars.
it's not tax dollars, it's money that was given for a purpose of trying to have this school be a better environment for students, so, and for teachers,
Yeah.
and we wanna make sure that that has a positive feel.
Yeah, well,
And then I think it's really important also to keep our big grantors in the loop of, we recognize you, you know, like you said, the thankfulness, and then also, I think, from just working in the grant world for a little bit, it seems like a lot of them, they appreciate, it's such a small world, especially around here, everybody knows kind of what's going on with each other. They don't like to be surprised that, oh, you might have applied for this money or that money, so just like, just having that communications, open and making sure that the board understands what's happening too. That's what I was thinking.
It's good.
So I don't know if it's an official,
I think we could just take those actions internally and we'll leave it in to the data that we normally receive, right?
Yeah.
We can add that to the consent agenda very easily, and we can create a quarterly update.
can you tell me real fast what the consent agenda is? Because
So here at the top of the, so up
Sorry,
at the
guys.
top, and it's an interesting thing, so we put things in the consent agenda that is like a block
Ah.
of things that we approve, paying the bills, accepting the attendance report, the homeschool report, the donations. And the interesting thing about consent agenda too, basically you're consenting to it. So it's not like you vote,
Separately.
you don't comment on it, number one. It's just something you say, a motion to accept, second, vote, we're done, right? So things can get kind of hidden in there, and we don't talk about them, but the purpose of this would be to get it so that it's part of the,
we did get the information, anybody that wants to can look it up.
well, they'll
But
see it.
normally
So
during-
anybody that goes into board docs, which they have access to for public meetings, can get to it at any point.
And if we have any questions about it, like if I've always wondered about the homeschool report, and I didn't realize it's in here, that you can actually see it, but if you have questions saying, oh, it looks like we got 10 new homeschoolers this month, can we bring that up here, or do we
You
talk
can,
about
what
it?
we do, we talk about it from time to time.
However, that's confidential
That's
information, it cannot be an open
That's not-
session.
You won't see it, the public won't see those names, we can.
Okay.
So we can say there were 3 new families
Correct.
that were homeschooled in the last month, I made that up, but we can't talk about who they are or anything like that.
Gotcha.
Normally during the consent agenda, we have donations that we actually do read out. This is an
Sometimes,
unusual
yeah.
meeting
Do
that
not have it
that do not have donations in that line.
Yeah, we do usually
Yeah,
say
so,
something.
and we don't usually just silently consent to it. We usually say, this
Yep.
person gave us this
Yeah,
much
that's a
money.
good point.
And you have that in your open session, so 3.4 is usually your donations, so we could put donations / grants.
Yeah.
Update,
Yeah, in that, so there's discussion, we can talk about whatever in that area, and then
That's a
stick
good
it in the
idea.
consent agenda.
That sounds awesome. Thanks.
No problem.
Good comments, all right. Any other new business?
I'm gonna be going to Richmond to the conference again, the Capitol Conference again. And Lenny, are you going to that also?
I'm also coming.
Yes,
And there's
so, yeah,
a new
so-
school board day attendance meeting,
Yeah,
so I'll go to that
yeah, yeah.
on the 27th.
So
Yeah, the
when-
26th
when
and
you-
27th.
When you go to that, is there a targeted, is there, when I've been in the past, there's these forums where you mingle and
There
talk to
is,
various
and
people, is
there
that the
is a-
idea?
Yeah, well, it's got a report on sort of on a forecast of what's happening
Ah,
this year
right.
in the state, et cetera. There's an opportunity to go visit legislators and,
And you could share with us next month how
Yeah.
that went.
yeah, yeah.
When is that?
It's the 26th and 27th.
26th?
If we have any patrons, I'll let you know.
Right,
as soon
right,
as-
it's a fascinating moment
Yeah.
of the,
Go
of
see.
the session, so.
May come with you if it's, yeah, depends on
Good.
what it is.
All right, any future agenda items that the board would like to see?
I think we already went into
I
that.
think we did.
Yeah.
Any others? Our next regularly scheduled school board meeting is on February the 10th at the elementary school gym. It's a joint meeting with the supervisors, so buckle up. It's that first meeting where we kind of go over, here's our forecast for what the budget looks like, and it's an opportunity for the board of supervisors to ask us for research on whatever it is that's troubling them. Going into this year, though, it's good for you to know that we have been intentionally meeting in smaller groups to try to get any questions that they have, try to bubble them up as soon as possible. And so we started meeting, I'm going to say last fall,
Yeah.
after we recovered from last year's budget. We started having meetings with them, 2-on-2, can meet without minutes and announcements and all of the things that are legally required. So that's what we've been doing. And so I'm hoping that, we're not in a year of surprises, and that by the time we get to where we're having meetings, that we're actually starting to think on a common thread about where we're headed. So anyway, that's our next regularly scheduled school board meeting, and then next Tuesday night at 6:30 at the school board office, we'll be having our first budget work session. And that's open to the public as well. It's just a tiny room, so that's where that'll be happening.
Sorry, can I ask one more question, since I know we just adopted this calendar, and is it just a long-standing that we do it on Tuesday nights? Is that just always the standard?
Yep.
My youth group meets on
Second
Tuesday nights too, and so.
Second
Maybe I'll go
Tuesday.
do that.
Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday.
For our school board meetings, but also our work meetings and stuff
Oh,
like
the
that?
work meetings could be anytime.
Okay,
Yeah.
They could.
okay.
And we can reschedule it right now before we leave, if you want. But that's what we got planned now. We probably
I
should
think
stick with this one,
it's, yeah, it's an
but you
announcement
should know that typically,
in the future.
yeah, say something,
Okay.
because they're gonna land on Tuesday nights
Okay.
unless you say something.
Okay.
Okay, because that's just our default.
Okay.
All right. Who's the motion for close?
I move that the board convene in closed session for the following purpose: discuss and consider the appointment of staff for professional positions, and to discuss superintendent performance consistent with mid-year evaluation process pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A1.
There, a motion, Ms. Bonham, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rubin, all in favor, aye? Aye, opposed, no. So ordered, we're gonna be in another room for a, how long do you think? 20 minutes, 30 minutes? 20 minutes, and then we'll be back. So what are we doing? We're gonna be going over the personnel report, which is any new employees that have been, are being recommended to the board, any resigning employees that will be recommended to the board, and twice a year, the superintendent goes through a personnel evaluation. And we, at the 6-month time period, which is this one, we deliver that to her so that she has a good read on how things are going. And then in May, we do the full evaluations required for us. So that's part of what's happening tonight, which you won't hear about. When we come back, we'll be making motions regarding the personnel report. And if you need to know what was in that report and you're not here, you can always call the board office tomorrow and find out. And if you're here and it's something interesting, we'll share it with you. Okay? We're going to go into another room. Thanks for hanging out. We'll be back in 15 or 20.